Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 32 of X-Men, written by Jerry Duggan. But before we dive into the story, I want to ask you a favor. If you enjoy this video, please leave a like and a comment to help the channel grow. So with that said, this issue opens up on Magik's Island, which is the site of the so-called mutant massacre. And when we get there, we pick up with a lighthouse keeper. Now, this lighthouse keeper is one of the few individuals to survive the mutant massacre, so of course, considering the fact that Orchis is moving into their final stages of their plans, they thought it would be a great idea to tie up loose ends by sending an assassin. But unfortunately, the lighthouse keeper was not by himself, because at his side stood Lockheed. And as you may have guessed, the Orchis assassin stood no chance against the flame-throwing dragon. So with that problem eliminated, Emma's voice entered our little friend's mind. Because all around the world, Emma is filling in every mutant on what just transpired with the Orchis Bloom Station. She tells them that they may have noticed the Orchis giant space weapon is no longer in service. And as for the once feared Sentinels, they are currently being dealt with by Tony's new Mysterium Sentinel Buster in the Australian outback. So with good news delivered, she tells the mutants they should continue to keep resisting, for the fight is not over yet. So with that said, Emma pulls up to a street corner where she sees two Orchis soldiers holding three young mutants at gunpoint. Now, if you know anything about Emma, there are two things that she does not like. The first thing is Orchis soldiers, and the second is anyone who harms kids. So with the help of the new knuckle dusters that was given to her by Tony Stark, Emma fired some kind of beam at the unexpected soldiers, which completely eradicates the top half of their bodies. So with both soldiers gone, the newly freed mutants began to fight back as Emma took her leave. So following that, we transition over to Magik breaking her way into an Orchis base ready to do her part. Now, this right here is a pretty big deal, because up to this point, after the mutant massacre, Magik was sent off-world where she had to fight against the forces of Saturnine in the pages of the Realm of X. And, while she was there, we got to know just how much harm the nanos did to Magik's abilities. But as time went on, we started to realize that these nanos did more than just block her teleportation abilities, but it was also killing her in the process. So with her breathing labored and her movements slower, Magik did all she could to push forward. And with the kill no human rule out the window, Magik was able to fight as she saw fit. So as her blade slashes through soldier after soldier, Magik eventually gets a hold of a blaster. Now just because we were used to seeing Magik wield a sword didn't mean she was a slouch with a gun. Because with pinpoint accuracy, Magik was able to take out every guard before her. So as the damage from the nanos started to worsen, Emma begs Magik to stand down until reinforcements arrive, but with Magik being who she is, she continues to push on. All the way up until she made it into the room where the doctor who was responsible for making the nanos stood. And almost instantly, upon looking at her, he realized she was infected with his creation. Now just to add some context to what is going on, the whole reason why Magik broke into this facility was to find the person who was responsible for making said nanos. Now upon catching up with him, she discovered that he was burning all the evidence. Because at this point in the war, the writing is on the wall, and some members of Orchis sees a future where mutant kind comes out on top. So in an attempt to preserve their own potential freedom, all forms of evidence must go, including Magik herself. So right before the scientist could pull the trigger, Shadowcat phased right into the room and disarmed the individual. So with no time to catch up, the two women started to search the lab in hopes of finding an antidote, and in a warrior fashion, the two cut down all who stood before them. So with the fatigue setting in, Magik collapsed into a chair as she started to ask about the state of the mutant race, asking about whether her brother, Peter, is doing okay. In which Shadowcat took the time to catch her up to speed. So just as Magik was on the verge of dying, Emma's real reinforcements arrived, because Shadowcat wasn't her backup, but Perilous was. And as soon as she got there, she immediately noticed the machines within Magik's blood and offered to take it out. But before she does, she makes sure to inform Magik that the process is extremely painful. So with the warning given, Perilous proceeded to rip the nanites from Magik's body and destroy them as our hero collapsed into Shadowcat's arms. So just as one problem was solved, another one appeared right behind her as a sentinel peers over the roof. And just as the sentinel goes on the attack, Perilous uses her magnetic abilities to put up a shield against the sentinel. But due to Tony Stark's research and countermeasures, she was unable to crush the mechanical beast. So with Perilous playing defense, Shadowcat and the newly energized Magik took the opportunity to teleport over the colossal menace and deliver a fatal blow. A blow that caused the Sentinel to completely explode, so with the threat gone, all the prisoners within the base were set free. Now, with this one battle over, Emma pulls up in front of both Shadowcat and Magik. And after Emma welcomed back Magik, she turned to face Shadowcat, and before she could speak, Lockheed flew out the vehicle and into Kate's arms. So with Lockheed reunited with his friends, we switch over to Polaris asking about the whereabouts of Nimrod, in which Emma tells her he is next on their hit list. And out of nowhere, Cyclops entered the chat and fills the rest of the team in on his new alliance, for Scott has secured an asset from Orcus in the form of Dr. Gregor. So with this key player in hand, Cyclops asked for some assistance from a war captain, in which Magik obliged by teleporting to his location. So with that said, this issue of X-Men comes to an end. So with that out there, if you want to stay in the loop about any individual storyline, then how about you hop over to the playlist section down below or in the link cards above to get all caught up on the X-Men runs. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.